How much should you charge as a freelance writer? This is arguably one of the most frequently asked questions for content writers, and I'm here to answer it. Welcome to episode 4 of the Millennial Writer series. In this particular episode, I have something very interesting to share with you. So, we are going to be talking about setting your rates in general, right? Because one of the most important things you're going to need to do when you start your writing career is set your rates, and you don't want to undercharge and you also don't want to overcharge. So, you need to know exactly how to set your rates as a content writer. Let's do a brief recap. Episode 1 of this series, we talked about the Millionaire Writers Toolkit, where I showed you 5 tools that should be in your toolkit. In episode 2, we talked about the Millionaire Writers Offer. In the third episode, I showed you the Millionaire Writers Positioning, where to position yourself to be found. And in this episode, I'm showing you the Millionaire Writers Rates. So I'm going to be showing you how you can, set your rates as a content writer. And guess what, guys? Class is really in session. So I have my board and I have put down everything here. Okay, so let's go. First off, there are 3 major ways that you can set your rates. 3 ways. You can either choose to charge per word, choose to charge per hour, or per project. Now let me explain. If you're charging per word, you can say, okay, my rate is going to be $0.05 per word. That's just an example, of course. If you write a 1,000 word blog post, you're going to charge $50 for that. You'll be paid $50 for that based on this per word rate. Okay. Now, if you decide you want to charge per hour, let's say you set your rate at $25 per hour, right? So if you work for 4 hours, you're going to get paid 25 times 4, which is $100 for whatever it is you've worked on. All right. Now you can decide also that you want to charge per project. So you don't want to charge per hour, or you want to charge for the full project. This is just my flat rate. Okay. And so for instance, you can decide I've set my flat rate for blog posts for $100 per blog. That's your flat rate. So that means no matter what happens, no matter how many hours you spend, you're going to get this $100 for this blog post. These are the 3 major ways that you can charge. So it's up to you to choose, okay, this is how I want to work, this is how I want to work, this is what I want to do. All right. So now that we've talked about that, there are other factors that would also influence how you charge. Okay, and I've got 4 of them here. The first one is your experience or skill level. Now there are 3 things. You are either a beginner, it's either you're a beginner, you're a mid-level writer, or you're a pro. These are your experience levels, right? And obviously, what a beginner is going to charge is not what a pro is going to charge, right? If you've been here for a while, you know the kind of results you can provide for your clients, and you can qualify yourself as a pro, right? What you're going to charge for a blog post is different. It's way more than what someone who is a beginner is going to charge. Do you understand? So first thing you need to consider is your experience or skill level. Am I experienced or skilled enough to charge this thing I'm charging? Do you understand? Second thing that you need to consider is the client industry. This is very important. Not all industries are equal. Some industries are way more expensive, require more work, they require just way more things done than others. So if you're going to be charging, you can't be charging a blog post for that kind of industry the same way you would for another kind of industry that requires very little, minimum to no effort. Do you understand? So for instance, let's say you want to write a blog post and you're writing this blog post for a solopreneur that has a business, maybe a beauty business that is just starting out, and maybe her business generates maybe $5,000 to $10,000 per month or something like that, right? And you now decide, okay, I want to charge you $100 for your blog. That might be fair. $100 per blog might be a fair rate for someone like that. Okay. But now imagine that you're writing for a fintech company. This fintech company makes about $30,000 to $50,000 in a month. They are doing very well. They have many employees. Charging them $100 per blog is not really good for you, because you might be undercharging yourself, because your blogs might be generating them way much more money, right, than that. So it's now smarter to check and say, okay, this industry, what does it really entail? Okay, so that's another thing that can show you how to charge. The third thing you need to consider is the results. This is very important. The results you're providing for the client you're charging is going to also determine how much you should charge. Okay, so for instance, let's say you're writing Let's say you're writing the course content for a very big course creator, right? This person creates because it has a huge audience. Let's say HubSpot Academy, and you're writing one of the course content for them, right? And you know that this content is going to reach thousands of people. They are going to buy into it, and you know your content is going to do a lot of work. That is going to generate a lot of results. You know that. So you can now charge based on that result you're going to get. Okay, and you know you're going to charge a lot for that. It's different for, let's say you're just writing the bio for a beginner. Let's say somebody is just starting up her makeup brand and she's asking you to write her bio or something like that. You're not going to charge the same for these two brands. Do you understand? So the results that you're going to offer your clients will also affect how you charge. And another thing that would affect how you charge is the turnaround time. Okay, so if someone gives you a job and it's like, oh, whenever you're done, submit it, that's fine. You can decide to submit it after 1 or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever. But if someone gives you a job and say, can I get this by 12 noon tomorrow? Can I get this by 4 p.m. tomorrow? That's express work. So that requires a very fast turnaround time, and that will require more effort on your side. So that is another avenue for you to increase your fee. Do you understand? So these four things are things that you should check that would actually affect or influence the way that you charge. All right. So that being said, we're moving over to the calculation part. You guys, I always knew that I was studying engineering for a reason. I always knew my engineering classes were never going to be in vain. So, yes, this is a functional formula that you can use to calculate your rates. And now let's go through it together so that we are on the same page. All right. So, this is the formula is ETF here stands for estimated time of finish. Estimated time of finish times rate per hour, all in brackets, board mass, plus your value. So this is a simple formula that you can use, right? This is a simple formula that you can use to calculate your rates. Okay, so now let's go into details here. Let's go into detail. Now, your estimated time of finish. So let's say the project you want to take on is 1,000 words. So let's say you're writing 1,000 word blog. Let's say you're writing a blog of 1,000 words. This is what you're writing. Okay, now let's take how long will it take for us to finish this blog? That's the first step. So you need to break it down to the different things you're doing. First, you're going to do research. And let's say research, for me, I'd always say research takes the longest time for me. I believe it's like that for most people. So let's say you're researching for this entire project will take you 2 hours. 2 hours. Then you go to writing, and let's say writing it will now take you 1 hour. Then you move over to editing, and let's say editing will take you 1 hour. By the time you've calculated your total time, estimated time to finish this is 4 hours. So let's just say you're using 4 hours to complete this project. All right. So this is 4 hours. Now we've gotten our ETF. All right. Now let's look at the rate per hour. Now your rate per hour is like, let's say it's just a range of rates that you can charge. So for a beginner, you are advised to charge anywhere between $10 to $25 per hour. This will now depend on your skill, your experience, how good you are, and other things. But you can choose anywhere from $10 to $25 per hour as you're starting out. All right. So let's say you decide, okay, you know what, I want to charge $15 per hour. You want to charge $15 per hour, right? Now you have your rate per hour. This is your fixed rate per hour. Now, from our formula here, ETF times rate per hour is going to be, your ETF is 4, your rate is 15. So it's going to be 4 times 15. So we'll leave that in the brackets. We'll leave that in the bracket, right? Now, going over to your value. Now, this is very relative, right? Your value can be, it's just a fixed amount that you can set out. You can say, okay, this will cover the revisions I'm going to do for the clients, the revisions. You will cover revisions that I will do for the client. You will cover any errors. You will cover client communication, maybe late communication and something like that. It just covers a couple of unforeseen, just take it as miscellaneous fee, unforeseen circumstances that could come out. Add that as the value you are bringing. Call it a value fee. Can call it a value fee. So if you say, now giving you a standard rate, you can charge anywhere from $10 to $40 for this. $10 to $40 for this. So let's say as a beginner, you decide, you know what, I'm going to take my value fee to be $20. That is your fixed value fee. So now we have everything in our formula. So ETF times rate, that's 4 times 15 is 60. Board mass, so you have to do the one in the bracket first. That's 60. Then for the value, your value is $20, that's 20. So by the time you've added 60 plus 20, you'd find out that, right, your own fixed price will be heading up to $80 per 1,000 word block. So that means you now you can decide, okay, by the time you've done this calculation, you can say, yes, I charge $80 for 1,000 words of a blog post, right? So yes, this is a simple formula. Remember, I said this is nothing fixed. Remember what I said, this is not fixed. It is just something general that anybody can pick, right? You can, it depends on a lot of things, a lot of factors will alter them. So you can be very much more experienced, you can have a lot of results, and all these things will increase your rates here. But this is just a basic formula that a beginner can use to get the rates to charge for your work. Right. So, you guys, I hope that you learned something from this episode. In the next episode, I'm bringing another value. Trust me, if you haven't seen the other episodes, go back, binge watch it. And remember, we are following a sequence, so you don't want to miss any episode. See you in episode 5. Bye.